Hi guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to tell you guys how you can study smartly to score 250 plus on your USMLE Step 1 exam. Okay, so the first step is going to be building your basics. Now for this, there are a lot of resources available out there, including Kaplan, Pathoma, BNB, BRS, High Yield, Shelf Notes, and Sketchy, and so many other things. But what I personally recommend is the Kaplan lectures and the lecture notes because they're concise, they're pretty much high yield, and they help clarify your concepts. This is for all the subjects of basic sciences except for pathology, for which I recommend Pathoma and the Pathoma lectures. Now the way that I recommend people to do these is to watch the videos and to read the lecture notes along with it. And when the teacher says skip something, you skip it. Now to make the most of your Kaplan lectures, what I recommend is that while you're doing the lectures, make sure that you understand each and every concept in a crystal clear manner. Because at the end of the day, the exam isn't going to test how much you know, but how well you know what you do know. So if there's something that you don't understand, if there is a concept that's not absolutely clear, I want you to Google it, I want you to take out your textbooks, I want you to read about it. Well, I'm not saying that you should spend a whole lot of time on it, but just make sure that you understand it fully. Same goes for the gross pictures and the histology pictures. If there is something that the lecture is talking about, I want you to Google it. I want you to look at the pictures, the gross pictures and the histology pictures, and oh my God, I cannot even stress how much this is going to benefit you. Now for the other resources like Shelf Notes, High Yield, Sketchy and all that, what I personally recommend is that you should do these only if there is some area in which you're weak and you feel that Kaplan has not been enough for you. For example, if your anatomy is weak, then you can have a look at the Shelf Notes for anatomy. And if you're the sort of a person who learns better with pictures, then Sketchy is the book for you. But for a person like me, I feel that Sketchy isn't the type of learning that I would want because, you know, you first have to memorize the picture and then you recall the picture at the time of the exam, and to me that's just not time effective. I prefer using the lecture notes itself, but to each his own. Now step number two. Step number two is to digest all of the things you did over here while refreshing your basics with the latest edition of First Aid. Why I say the latest edition? Because every year they come up with these updates and they keep adding a few things here and there. The changes are not too drastic, but for example, if they're adding a new gene into your latest First Aid, you wouldn't want to get a question wrong just because you didn't get the latest edition. So yeah, always get the latest edition. And the way that you're going to use First Aid is that you're just going to go through it once and try to digest and recall everything you read previously. Do not incorporate anything from these things into your First Aid because that's going to create a lot of clutter and you won't have time at the end to go through all of it. So trust me, you don't want to incorporate any of this into your First Aid. Just go through it once, try to recall everything. If there's something you feel that you've forgotten, just quickly go back and revise it and come back and finish your First Aid. Now once you're done with your first read of First Aid, I want you to go ahead and get a UWorld subscription. UWorld is going to be by far the most important resource of your Step 1 preparation. UWorld is up to date with the latest resources, the latest research that's going on. They keep adding up new questions. Their questions are a lot like the actual exam is going to be, so do focus a lot on your UWorld. I highly recommend doing the online UWorld because it's always updated and they keep adding new things like I just said, so I don't see why you would want to do the offline UWorld instead of this. Okay, so the way that you're going to do your UWorld is that I want you guys to do it at least twice and ideally 3 times. The first time, I want you to keep it systemic and untimed, because you're not trying to pace yourself right now. You're just trying to learn and understand different concepts. So, for example, if you start making blocks of cardiology, then at the end of all the questions, once you're done with the whole section, I want you to pick up your first aid and revise cardiology. So this is going to be your second read of first aid and your first go of UWorld. This is really going to help you integrate all of those concepts into your head. And also, now what I want you to do is that the new concepts that you learned from your UWorld, I want you to incorporate those into your first aid. This is the only thing that you're going to add to your first aid, because this is important and you will want to revise it at the end. Now, once you're done with your second go of UWorld, what I want you to do is to get done with the third read of your first aid real quick. You know, just revising all the concepts once more, along with the stuff that you annotated from your first two goes of UWorld. Once you're done with your 2 goes of UWorld and 3 goes of first aid, I want you to start with your NBMEs. I recommend that you start with NBME 13. The ones before that don't really have proper keys, and it's really just a waste of time to me. If you feel a need, you can go ahead and do that, but I recommend starting from NBME 13. If you're short on time, then you can always start from NBME 16. So at this point, when you take your NBME 13 or 15, you'll be able to tell where you stand and what areas do you need to work on. With that, I want you to start working on those identified areas using any of the earlier resources that we discussed for building your basics. Once you're done with that, I want you to go ahead and do a third go of UWorld. In this third go of UWorld, you're only going to do the marked and the wrong questions that you got from the first 2 goes. This should be really quick, and this should really help you focus on the stuff that you are really weak at. Once you're done with this, take another NBME, preferably 16 or 17. See where you stand. If there's anything that you feel that you're weak at, go back again, revise it again. Make sure that all of your concepts are really good. Now, once you've come to this point, your preparation after this is going to be tailored according to what you need. So go back, do another read of first aid. Just make sure that you memorize most of the concept, because trust me, nobody can ever memorize all of the concepts given in first aid. After that, you keep giving your NBMEs, you do your UWSA 1 and 2, and just see where you stand in all of them, and then accordingly go back and revise the things that you need to. Remember that you cannot know everything, so don't try to do that to yourself. Just make sure that whatever you do know, you know it fully and you understand it well. For the NBMEs and UWSA, I'm going to do another video which is going to explain how to use them and how good they are and how predictive they are and all that stuff. That's not the scope for this video, so yeah, we'll do that in the next one. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I just want to say one thing, that all of this is just my personal opinion, and this is how I studied for my exam, but it doesn't necessarily have to be what you do. Just use this as a rough roadmap to know how to go about this, but I want you to understand that every person has their different needs, their different ways of doing things. So just figure out what works for you using whatever I just told you, and do what's best for you rather than listening to what I'm saying or what a third person is saying. So yeah, that's that, and I hope you get the score of your dreams. Have a good day, and bye.